Hi, Cassandra. How are you?
Good.
So, for those listeners who don't know Cassandra Taylor, she is an Idaho Falls hairdresser. Idaho Falls in Idaho. I actually looked it up. Of course, it's in Idaho. But
Yeah.
when I saw that you're in Idaho Falls, I had to Google search it. And of course, it's in Idaho. But where in Idaho? And I looked it up and I spent 15 minutes looking around Idaho Falls, Idaho, because I'm not that familiar with it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fascinating. You're just south of Yellowstone National Park.
Uh-huh.
You're not far at all from places like Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Yep.
You're close to Big Sky, Montana. I mean, you're kind of located in one of the most beautiful areas of the country, and I've been wanting to kind of go up there for a long time. I got invited to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but that's 7, almost 8 hours away. I just learned.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so it's a fascinating place, but I don't want to derail myself here and start talking about Idaho Falls yet. But
You're good.
that's where you are, and you're a
Yep.
hairdresser who focuses on creative color. You're an educator. You're a platform artist. K18 Collective. You're sponsored by JRL Clippers and Oligo, and you're part of Hair Slayers. And we've had lots of hair slayers on the podcast over the last 6 or 7 years. Neil M, Mikey T's, Shrunken Heads,
Yes.
Fairy Godmother. We've
They're
had a
all
lot.
on my team.
Yes, I don't know if I've interviewed Paul Mack. Anyway, I've interviewed a lot of hair slayers, so welcome, and you're in good company here. Why don't we start with where you're from originally and how you got into this business?
So I grew up in Oregon, but on the Idaho border. So you legit just drove across the bridge and you were in Idaho. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty much an Idahoan, but um I went to school in 2007, 2008. Um, and my creativeness started then. I would like practice on wigs and my roommates
Hmm.
and just anyone that would let me play with their hair. My hair
Hmm.
too. I do my own, do it all crazy.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I always
So,
tend to go back blonde because it's easy to like throw a color on there, but I'll sometimes have some vivid color too. But this is
hmm.
just easier.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah.
I've seen some wigs. You've been on Instagram with all sorts of different looks, which is always fun.
Yes.
But what? Okay, so before we move on in my questioning, so you went to high school and then beauty school or a trade school?
Oh, so I just went to beauty school in actually Rexburg. I don't know if you looked at the area, but
I
Idaho
didn't
Falls
find
and Rexburg are
Rex.
about 30 minutes away, but that's where BYU Idaho is.
Okay. Okay.
So I went over there. I didn't do any hair like in high school. I just strictly did it at the trade school, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And were you good at it right out of the
Not
gate?
not right at the get-go, no. Like I needed, I don't know, more confidence, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my confidence came after school. Like, because you learn your basics in school, but then
Hmm.
afterwards, I would continue my education. Every year I'd go and take a class and learn something from someone else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was definitely something I needed to learn and get better. And I still learn from people like all the time.
Yes. The teacher also learns, right? Not
Yes,
just those sitting in the audience.
exactly.
Okay, so when did you move to Idaho Falls?
Um, let's see. About right after school, it was about 2009. So
Okay.
I was commuting actually because I lived in Rexburg.
Okay.
And so I commuted and I came to work over here. So
Hmm.
I
Very
commuted for
good.
a while and then finally moved.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then how did you build your clientele there? Because that's a decent distance, right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I had a few people follow me from like hair school, but a lot of them didn't want to make the drive. I know that's not very far, but for here, everyone's like, "Oh, this is 8 minutes away. This is five." You know what I mean? So there's so many people in Rexburg that they don't need to come to Idaho Falls. So,
Okay.
well, when I did hair, social media wasn't really a thing. So I definitely did the cards on people's cars, and
Yeah.
handing them out at the mall
Hmm.
and word of mouth. I did a lot of like referral programs,
Hmm.
and then I did a lot of incentives like I started at Dollar Cuts. That's the salon I worked at.
Okay, that was the first salon.
That was the first
It
salon
was
I worked
called
at.
Dollar Cuts.
Uh-huh.
Yes, which does
And
not inspire confidence.
yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't care about the name. I just wanted to get my name out there, and
Yep.
I would do a lot of free hair just to get people in the door.
So not even
Um
a Dollar Cuts should
yeah,
have
and
been the
I
name.
mean they were $8 haircuts. They weren't like dollar cuts, but it was cheap.
Yeah.
But it was full service. Like it was color, it was a tanning salon. I did like spray tans, I did lashes, I did all of it.
Wow.
But I started to like specialize and figure out what I like doing, and it was the creative hair color. And that's what like people came to me for. And a lot of my clients, I still have those clients today. About 75% of my clients came with me when I went on my own. And I've been
Amazing.
on my own since 2014, I want to say.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that was because my husband's like, I can help you. Like, you can do this. And we were only dating at the time, but he was very supportive of me and my dreams. I was scared to leave a commission based salon.
Yeah.
I also managed it for 5 years.
Oh my God. Okay.
So
So you were
yeah,
behind the chair and you're managing Dollar
yeah,
Cuts
yeah.
for 5 years, and I'm sure you got your hands on a lot of hair there,
Oh
and you got
yeah,
a lot of repetitions, and you got a lot of
yeah.
practice. And I've heard this quite a bit actually recently, and just really coincidental that a lot of my guests have started at kind of a value level of salon and uh, rose up. I mean, became good,
Yeah.
were good in the beginning or became good after a bunch of repetitions and had a great personality and were really great at what they're doing. And clients loved you and they followed you to the next level and the next level or wherever you decided to go. And that sounds like that's similar to your story. And so
Yeah.
you went from there to your own studio. Your husband believed in you, which is amazing. And what was it like becoming independent?
I was terrified because I was so used to getting like kind of a steady paycheck, even though it was commission. I just knew I'd always like, have that. And leaving, I was like, okay, I have to buy all my own stuff. I have to pay rent. And I was so scared, like, to have people, like, I don't know. I wasn't sure if people were going to follow me.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if I can say this. You can, um, Dollar Cuts told me I couldn't take my clients with me, but I
Oh
never
yeah.
signed like anything. So I got all their information and contacted them. And they
Yeah.
actually asked me to come back and they would hire or pay me more to manage and stuff. But I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not worth it. Like, you know, but
I can't stand that. When it reminds me of the one time I was a customer of a newspaper, LA Times or whatever, and I had been paying, I'm going to make up the number, $100 a year. It was
uh-huh.
probably more than that. And I called them one day and I'm like, okay, I want to cancel. And they're like, well, don't leave. We'll give you a special rate for only $10 a year. And it's like, well, but wait a second. I've been paying $100 a year all these years, and all I had to do was call you, and you're going to drop the price to $10.
Yeah.
So it's a similar kind of thing. You were there for 5 years, and you leave, and all of a sudden they want to pay you more money, right? It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I
All right.
was there 6 years, but 5 of it I managed.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah.
All right. So your clients followed you largely, and
Yeah.
I assume that you increase your prices. Did you increase your
Yes.
prices when
And
you left?
that was the hardest thing too, because I went from like a low budget,
Yeah.
salon to
Dollar
something where it's
cuts.
like, you guys, I have to pay for this all out of pocket. So I really only did a $10 increase to like each of my services. And I was still below what other people were charging.
Hmm.
But the new clients, I had a higher price.
Yep.
And slowly every year I would increase like by another $10, $15. And I kept a lot of them, but some people left. But I'm not like, my clients are my clients. I will find you a budget stylist, or I will find you um, something that's cheaper. Like you can do a partial instead of a full. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just get those relationships with them. You're like, I know, I'm sorry, I'm out of your budget, but what is your budget? And let's work with that. And if
Hmm.
not, I will send you to someone that's reputable, that is within your budget. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And so you kind of found your ideal clients over time, and they found you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounds like it's been, yeah, a pretty good situation you've got.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. And I only take on new clients for Vivid Hair because I have all my regulars. I have my old ladies that I do my, gray touch ups every 5 to 6 weeks. And I still have men clients. Like, it's crazy. I've been cutting some of them since they were two. It's I'm like, how long have you been coming to me? And they're like, how old's your son? 14? Yeah, 14 years. I'm like, holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so you've got a full clientele,
Yes.
and you're also educating, and
Yes.
you have certain responsibilities to the brands that
Yes.
you've aligned with. And so tell us how you split your time. I mean, how much time behind the chair and how much time educating? Do they make you travel? How does that work?
Yeah. So it's a little bit here and there. I'm behind the chair 4 days a week.
Okay.
So I'm usually off on the weekends and on Monday. And on my Friday, I only work until about 3.
Hmm.
So it's really nice because I'm like 9 to 5.
Hmm.
So, but
Hmm.
I mean, my clients, are used to that and make it work.
Hmm.
So on Thursday, I do work till 6, and I do 10 to 6 on
Okay.
Thursday because I
Yep.
have a few that need after 5. So
Hmm.
that's my one late day. But
Right.
I also juggle my kids and their sports.
Oh, how old are they?
Okay, so Tucker is 14 and Jackson is 11.
Okay.
So, yep,
I have
it's
a
it's a
12 and
lot,
a
but
14, so I
uh-huh.
get it.
Uh, but
The sports.
yeah. Social media and brand stuff. I try to do that on my Mondays because that is like a day during the week that I can get stuff done, and I have the weekends for my family and everything. I try to in the evening engage and post, but it's late at night. But I think people are used to me posting 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I do post on my stories and stay active that way.
Hmm.
But it is like another full time job doing that.
Yep.
And with my brand deals and stuff, they usually give me a good 2 to 3 weeks or so to like get the content and make it and then post.
Okay.
So usually it's not too bad, and I do that on my Mondays. Sometimes
Hmm.
I have to do it on Sunday, but it just
Hmm.
depends. It's hard to juggle.
And I bet it is. So for the curiosity of the listeners who are like, if I had a sponsor, Oligo or JRL or K18 or whoever, like what would they make me do? Like what's the requirement? Is it once a month? You said every three
So
weeks.
yeah, it's different with each brand. And so I used to work for Guy Tang. I was part of Guy Tang My Identity.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
with
know Guy well.
them, it was once a month that we would teach a class. And because I got hired during COVID, it was all through Zoom. So we would do that. And it was usually just an hour. And we would have like a model already prepped. And usually it was a mannequin head. Sometimes I got like a live model. And then,
Oops, hold
oh,
on.
I was like, add hand effects.
You went dark on me. Okay, there you
That's
go.
weird. It said add hand effects. So it's
Add
probably
hand
because I'm
effects.
talking with my hand.
Sometimes when I go like this,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
boom!
And
Look at
isn't there
that.
a thumbs up one too?
Da 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 da. Let's see if
There's something, or maybe it's a peace sign.
look.
No, I don't know.
Do you see what's happening on my screen?
Yeah, you got a
It's
storm
raining
going.
on me, and then there's like a dark cloud. I wonder what that-
That's crazy.
So for the listeners who were like, "What the hell are they talking about?" They were talking about Guy Tang and My Identity, and then now all of a sudden they're talking about
A
hand
dark cloud.
gestures. So the software we're using to record this has interesting things. So when Kisandra and I are moving, it's got some weird AI thing in there. So if you do a thumbs up, you get kind of this weird thumbs up image on the screen. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's probably
All right.
why it did that. I was like, hand gestures.
Yeah. So yeah, Cassandra's screen went dark, I think, because it was doing
Sorry.
something about hand gestures. It's weird. I didn't read the instructions of this app, so we don't know what's happening.
It does that with iPhones and like FaceTime because I was
Okay.
FaceTiming my mom and I think she thumbsed up and she was like, "Why did it just do that?" So anyway, but it might be an Apple thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe. I don't know.
Anyway,
Okay. All right. So My Identity during COVID, you were doing virtual classes,
yes,
and
and
yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was tag them in 2 videos a month.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the requirements are or were.
Mm-hmm.
And then with K18, the brand deals were separate. Like I was required to post like a 30-second video or something, and then they would pay me just for that video. But the collective is they send me X amount of products every month, and I just tag them in 2 videos.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not a lot required. You're already making the content,
Yeah.
so you just tag
Right.
the brand.
Right. Right.
And then I don't even know if I have what's it called, requirements for JRL.
Mm-hmm.
They hired me, Hair Slayers found me. I won a competition and they found me and they're like, "We'd like to sponsor you." I was like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "We'll send you free stuff. Just tag us in your videos." And I'm like, "Cool."
Nice.
And COVID is really what helped me grow, is because I was posting, I was teaching, people were finding me. So I'm kind of thankful for COVID since I was locked down like 2 months,
Right. It sounds like you were staying active and doing all the right things during COVID, which is great.
Yeah. That's honestly where I grew the most. And now I'm just kind of coasting and growing a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't post like every day. I do on my stories, but like I don't post videos every day. I'm like once a week. I try. It is hard to do.
It is. Yeah, it is hard to do. I've become very bad at it. I just haven't been able to allocate the time. So Donovan has given me the word back to the question, have I interviewed Paul Mack? He said no. And I'm glad that I was correct because I didn't remember it. And I would have scared myself if I didn't remember it and I had interviewed him. That would be really embarrassing. I wouldn't admit that on live here on the show. But I can now with confidence say that I correctly remembered that I had never interviewed him. So this is the official invite to Paul Mack. Paul has to come on the show. We will reach out to him. Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about bond builders. Bond builders is a very interesting topic. Pretty much started with Olaplex around 2014-15.
Yes.
And this guy named Dean in Santa Barbara created this product, a whole new category. and kind of lit the, the chemical processing part of the industry on fire. You could do this all of a sudden, you could do that all of a sudden. And, there was kind of an upward trajectory, and now there's a little bit of a downward trajectory on Olaplex's numbers and some other things. It's a public company. You can look on their numbers and see.
Okay.
They're selling like half the product they were just a couple of years ago. So then K18 came out, and it seems like a lot of people consider it the only real competitor to Olaplex. So you rely on it, or is it just in some of your services, some of your color services you use it? How do you use it?
Yes, I do on most of my blonding clients.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't use every step. I just think like the molecular hair repair mask and the Chet Later spray. Am I saying that right?
I don't think so, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it any differently.
The prepping spray.
Yes, I know exactly the word that you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to say it right.
Came out with one too.
Yes, of course.
Chelator? Is that right?
I'm not even going to try. I don't know. You're the educator. I'm just the consumer. So.
I always say that wrong. I have to look it up before I say it. But none of these brands I am exclusive to, mm-hmm. which is nice because I can post about other ones. So Oli G is a new product I'm
from
sponsoring.
Olago. Is
it?
Yes.
Because he's a new brand. Oli G Club.
Hold on, Donovan. Hold on. We're going to get to the bottom of this one because I looked it up and I saw the name and I thought, Oli G, boy, that's a whole lot like Olago. Okay, you're right. It's Oli G. Mm-hmm. OLI space G. Okay, yep. What kind of product is this?
So it's just like K18 and Olaplex. It's another peptide bond.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
To me, they're all really similar. They all do the same thing, Mm-hmm. That's just me. I haven't noticed one work better than the other. I think a lot of people switch from Olaplex though, because I don't feel like with Olaplex you notice it immediately like you do K18. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I like Olaplex too. So I don't know. I use a bond builder in every chemical blonding service. And it's whatever I have.
Right.
Whatever I want to use.
What are you seeing behind the chair these days? Client behavior. Any changes? Are they asking for different sort of, trends, or are they coming in more or less?
I'm doing way more mullets. Like that is a big thing right now. Like the wolf cut, the mullets. Yeah.
I got a little bit of a mullet.
Yeah.
I'll show the camera here. Yeah. So it's kind of although my top has gotten kind of long too, which kind of diminishes the nature of the mullet, right?
It's still kind of mullety.
It's a little mullety. Yeah. Yeah. And this part is so poofy, the back, like above the mullet part, that it kind of takes away from the mullet. But all right, so you're getting mullet clients. That's good.
Yeah, lots of them. My Vivid clients have been doing more solid colors because of inflation, but they still want to do the fun colors, but they want something less maintenance, if you know what I mean.
To save money.
Yes.
Okay, so solid colors because the gradient's kind of expensive, or like the blending takes you longer and you have to charge more.
Because I charge by hour, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was my next question. So you're charging by the hour. So they're like, what can you do in 4 hours?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And you're like, I can do a solid color, or let's say, what can you do in 2 hours? And you're like, I could do one solid color.
Yep.
And they're like, you can't, get some yellow and purple in there. You're like, well, that's 4 hours. And they're
Right.
like, I don't want to spend 4 hours worth. Yeah.
And a lot more are doing kind of like a balayage. Like they don't mind when their roots grow out. It's more of a lived in, but like
Mm-hmm.
vivids.
Yep.
So a lot of the times my vivids, like they'll come and do the blonding session and then we'll do their vivid. And the next time we just do the vivid. They don't care about like the grow out. And usually they'll do that twice and then we'll just blonde it again and do the
Mm-hmm.
vivids. So that saves them money because blonding takes a long time because I have
Mm-hmm.
to usually platinum card and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite service? Like
Definitely the
ideal client rolls into your
rainbows.
studio. What's that?
I love the rainbows, like rainbow
Oh yeah.
prism and
Yeah.
yeah, and color melting. I love doing silvers with like a pop of color.
Uh-huh.
It's really fun.
I love it. Are you on TikTok?
Uh-huh. Yes, same name, Kissy's Bombshell Beauties.
And how much time do you spend on TikTok versus Instagram?
You know what? I spend more time on Instagram than I do TikTok. And
Why is
I
that?
don't know why that is. Maybe my algorithm's better on Instagram. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Maybe you started earlier on Instagram
I
and there's
did.
just a
I did
bigger
start
community.
earlier. When I went off on my own is when I started posting on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I posted at all when I was at Dollar Cuts, but that was also, 2009, 10. When I
Yeah,
don't know when
so
Instagram started.
about 2011, I think it officially, was started. I don't think it really began to get popular until 2012. I think Facebook bought it maybe around then,
Oh,
2012,
okay.
maybe 2013. I might be off a year, but sometime around then. And then within our industry, really 2015, it really started changing things
Uh-huh.
for our industry. The first couple of years, it was kids posting pictures, like sepia tone and like heavy
Yeah.
filters and things like that. Remember the frames? You could put a frame around
Yes.
your image, and it was a bunch of that. And then around 2014, 15 is when it started really catching on, I think.
Yes.
Unfortunately for me, the guy with the name Eric Taylor
Uh-huh.
hasn't, he's been squatting on his account since like 2012. So he's been taking it from me.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's really annoying. I wish I could, I've actually tried to submit some kind of, complaint,
yeah.
and then so that maybe there should be a thing where if you don't post for, I don't know, 3 years or whatever, then
It
you
goes inactive.
automatically lose your account.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could be unfair maybe, but I would like that so maybe I could get the account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
What's the most difficult conversation you've ever had with a client in your chair?
Oh, I have to think about that. I've had so many conversations and tons of like relationship advice. I probably domestic violence. I had
Oh.
a client come in that was like pretty bruised up and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. And I did make an anonymous phone call afterwards, but she was aware of it and she went to the doctors and everything. And she said that they won't do anything unless she, like the victim, says something,
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
told him she fell down the stairs. And I was like, you can't keep doing
Hmm.
this. And I did make an anonymous call. She doesn't know that I did that, but yeah, she got some help and she's doing good now. But
Okay, good. Hopefully
yeah,
not with the guy anymore.
no,
Good.
yeah. So
That's
that was probably
brutal.
one of the most difficult ones. A lot of them lost too. I've had
Yeah.
clients crying to me in their chair because, especially when I've been doing their hair that long,
Yeah.
you know everything about them.
Yeah.
Their dogs, like family members.
Hmm.
Um, losing your own clients too. I lost one during COVID and that was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just so many different conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could wave a wand and change anything about the industry at all right now, what would it be?
I'm I think there needs to be less competition and more like support. You know, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot of competition in the hair industry. Like, there's so many of us, and your clients find you because of your personality and
Mm-hmm.
your skill. You can't like replicate me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like, there shouldn't be a competition against other stylists. There shouldn't, I don't know. I'm all
Yeah.
about stylists supporting stylists. So,
Yeah.
I wish that everyone was like that.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Do you have any hair horror stories? And it could be things that you messed up or
Yeah.
something that a hairstylist next to you messed up, whatever. Any hair horror stories
Oh
taking
gosh,
place
I
in the
have a
salon?
few. I need to figure out which one.
Oh yeah, I'll give you a minute to consider the best one.
Okay. Mm, I'm also thinking about which one isn't going to offend people.
How about this? Don't worry about offending anybody. You
Okay.
can give us a story. If you don't like it, we'll take it out. But but you probably it's probably not that offensive. But try us.
Okay. So, um, I I worked at another salon, Master Cuts, for just a little while, and kind of the same as Dollar Cuts.
Hmm.
And anyways, I remember this lady. I had just barely been doing hair, and she came in and she didn't speak very um good English. She's from Germany, and she came in and she was like, "This is the haircut I want," and she had a picture of it, and it's pretty much a bowl cut, like really short, and then
Hmm.
bangs. I was like,
Okay,
okay.
Cassandra has got her hand turned horizontally across her eyebrows, and
Yeah.
then she's around the top of her ears for the
Yeah,
listeners.
it was
Yes.
short.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And her hair was like kind of long like mine. And so
Mm.
I'm like, okay, if that's what you want. And I'm cutting it, and she doesn't say much, but she barely speaks English, and I'm
Mhm.
cutting it, and she was like, "No one ever gets this right. Nobody in America knows how to cut hair." So I'm just like so nervous, and I'm cutting it, and we get to the bangs. And I've always been taught to cut them longer because they'll shrink when they dry. I
Sure.
have PTSD from this lady.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
So I cut them like just right below her eyebrow because I knew when I dried them they were going to shrink up.
Yeah.
So I cut them, and she was like, shorter. And I was like, I'll cut them shorter when we dry it. And she's like, no, I know they need to be shorter. And she was very persistent.
And you're like dry versus wet.
I know. And I don't, and this is probably why no one has gotten her hair right.
Right, because
But
she keeps giving them the wrong direction.
yeah.
Yes.
So then I
Okay,
cut
so
them
you
shorter.
cut them?
Yeah. And then they were like at her eyebrow. And she told me even shorter. And she said when they dried, she wanted them to be above her eyebrow. But anyway, this is just how I remember it.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't that dramatic, but this is how I remember it. So then I cut them shorter, and then when I went to dry them, they were in the middle of her forehead. And she turns and looks at me, and she calls me a stupid American and
Uh,
says I don't know how to cut hair. And
uh-oh.
I started crying, and I
Oh.
asked my manager, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she said, I'll come over and I'll help you. And Um, and she was like, tell her she doesn't have to pay for her hair. And I was like, I'm sorry, you don't have to pay for your hair. And she's like, you stupid American, and just yelling at me.
Oh,
And she's like, I wasn't planning on paying for it anyway. And I was
what?
like, oh, okay. So I don't know if she just was like trying to get a free haircut, but
All right.
also it was bad. She had like baby
Wow.
bangs.
I mean, what a thief. Like
I thought so too. And
I
I
hear a
was
story
like,
like that. I'm like, this person is just trying to rob others of their money.
yeah,
They're trying to get free things from other. What a leech on society.
I know. That
Yeah,
that was one of the scariest ones.
yeah, I bet.
And now I'm terrified to cut people's bangs too short, that I always dry cut them after the initial cut, like
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Well, you live and you learn, and that's why we ask hair horror stories because,
Yeah.
we have young hairdressers, we have aspiring hairdressers, we have hairdressers in beauty school
Yeah.
listening to this podcast. And I think they get a lot from these hair horror stories. And of course, it's funny and entertaining at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Any last words for the community?
I'm hoping that my generation, like millennials and stuff, inspire like the newer ones, and that they want to come and learn from us. And I tell everyone to start at a commission salon. That's my biggest advice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go off on your own the very get-go. Even if you have clients in beauty school, you're not going to make enough off on your own. And with the commission one, they'll bring you the clients, you build them up, and then you leave and take them with you. Don't work at a one that makes you sign a waiver saying you can't
No
take your
NDAs.
clients, though.
Yeah, no NDAs, no non-competes. I think
Yes.
it's non-compete. And so we've been seeing that a little bit on the East Coast. You don't see it at all on the West Coast. The laws actually treat that differently. The laws in
Really?
California, the laws in California make it very hard for a company to enforce to enact and enforce a non-compete. In New York, it's a little bit different, although some of the teeth have been taken out of these non-competes. But yeah, totally. We've only talked about non-competes a couple times on the show,
Uh-huh.
but absolutely a bad idea.
Yeah. Because then, and if you do sign that, then I guess they do have say if you take your clients. But luckily, I never signed anything, so I
Yeah,
was able to take my clients with me.
yeah,
But that's my biggest advice, is to start at like a commission salon. It doesn't have to be dollar cuts or great clips, because some people create commission based salons, and it might fit their vibe better too. So
hmm
find somewhere you feel like you fit in, build your clients. I'd stay a year or two, and then you can go off on your own, and then
hmm
even build more once you're on your own. But
yeah,
that and continuing your education, always take classes at least once a year. So,
yeah. Very
yeah.
wise. You're Cassandra Taylor, not my sister, by the way, if anybody wonders.
Wait, is
Not my
that your
sister.
sister's name?
No, 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 no. My last name is Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, yes. I was
Not
like,
you're
that's
not.
funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. You are not my sister, though. But maybe sister from another mother, as
There
they
you
say.
go.
You're Kissy Bombshell Beauties on Instagram. It was awesome getting to know you.
Thank you. You too.